Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and educational services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity of Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal services may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions related to these issues. This material is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. All opinions expressed by externally cited sources are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. The case studies presented reflects the specific circumstances of one client and should not be considered a guarantee that another client or potential client may experience the same or certain level of results. This is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment recommendations or solicitation. Names have been changed to protect the anonymity of clients and are not testimonials in nature. Learn, grow, and take charge of your retirement. This is the Wealth Through Wisdom podcast with financial advisor Bryan Gaiser, founder of Gaiser Financial Group.
Bryan, I do not have to tell you that people have questions when it comes to what they have to do for retirement. I think actually it can be very frustrating, and I'm sure you see this as well, for somebody who is smart, who has worked hard, who is great at their profession. They've raised children, they have successful marriages, and then they don't have the first clue as to how to retire, which can be almost insulting on some levels.
Yeah, it can, but it's really, you're trying to answer one question. How do I have more money than I need for retirement?
Yeah. That's
really it. If you simplify it, that's what you're trying to do, right? So it's the bottom line. That's
what you're here to help us then figure out. And thinking about what we have saved for retirement, our 401k is obviously one of the most popular retirement saving tools. An interesting conversation about where our 401ks are in relation to where the market is. I wanted to ask you, because some people are seeing an imbalance in their statements versus what the market's actually doing. So understanding that and the why behind it, going to explain that a little bit more this half hour. But first, it's summer. We were talking before we came on the air.
Yes,
you and your family, you guys went, you have an annual beach trip that you do with friends every single year.
Yep, I do. And it said, they said the average is GoCity.com said the average is about 11 days, where ours was 7.
Okay.
It said that it's about 3 hours from home. Well, that's right. But $9,000 per person, it was not.
Let's talk about this survey.
It was not $27,000. So I guess that is in San Francisco or somewhere.
Let's talk about this survey. You were just referencing, there was this survey done, GoCity.com. They were asking people, here's the thing because I was reading it too with my furrowed brow, saying average one person is $9,000 for one vacation. It was a dream case scenario. And the dream case scenario is you're on vacation for 11 days. And you know what I was thinking about, Bryan? If you were to go to Disney World for 11 days in a row, I bet it could become $9,000 per person real quick.
It's ridiculous. Was it like $450 per person per day kind of average?
I haven't
that
even
has
checked.
A fast pass?
I haven't even checked. I just know that
I just heard that.
People
recently.
pay it, though. That's the thing. People are still paying it. So who are we
Big negative. I was like, good gosh, I'll take my family down there and figure out. It's not, even if you can afford it, that's like insulting.
It's a lot. So cost for vacation aside, another interesting finding from this study was that 92% of respondents said if just one thing goes wrong on a trip, it's enough to ruin the entire vacation. And when we think about our retirement, I like to speak in the analogy of, essentially you're planning what should feel like a 20, 30, 40-year vacation, right? I mean, that's what our retirement should be. We're finally getting to enjoy the time that we worked so hard to get to. However, things can happen. And in some case scenarios, have you seen it? And I have to imagine you work to find it. Are there one things that could essentially throw off somebody's entire retirement plan?
I mean, of course it can. I mean, they were talking about one big thing happens on your trip. I mean, you gotta keep life in perspective. One big thing's gonna happen from time to time. That's number one.
That's right.
My wife and I flew to Italy one time, and we flew from Greensboro to Charlotte, and then Charlotte we were flying straight into Rome. Mm-hmm. Well, what happened was when they opened up the back door to load up the food and things on the plane, they hit the back door, and they bent it and on the plane. and they had to fly someone in from Denver to inspect. They had to fly the actual door down from Philadelphia where it was stopped. So they had to do it, replace it. The person in Denver would not fly over until it was already done. Then they flew over, inspected, and then we could leave. It left 9 hours later.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Door took about 10 minutes because nothing else was damaged. And I'm like, okay. 9 hours
As you
for
were
a 10, 20-minute job.
Perspective. Yep. Okay.
I digress a little bit because I don't forget about it. Didn't ruin my trip.
Right.
I just said, you know what? We got to Italy 9 hours later, so what? I'm in Italy.
Okay.
Move on.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right. Yep.
And we got to keep life in perspective. We got to keep retirement in perspective.
Yep.
You're going to have things. You're going to have uh-ohs. I just recently had a client come in when it comes to this, and her situation was she said, look, my husband became a little ill, but little ill turned into a little bit bigger ill.
Okay.
And with his sickness, what she said was, I'm going to retire a little bit later. And then I'm going to take a little bit longer to take my Social Security. And she did. She took it at 70, which increased how much she would have received from his retirement.
Okay.
It would increase for him as well. She took her pension and did a single payout, which means it'll pay out to her for the rest of her life. But for a decade at least, it would cover her husband, which would probably cover this illness and expected time to live.
Okay.
And lo and behold, 6 months after she retired, he passed away. Oh. But she was prepped and knew he would be taken care of.
Got it.
When she retired.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yep.
So the bottom line is applying for Social Security too early, that could have been a mess for them, right? Because now she gets that 70 amount that she had earned, plus his pension, because he had already filed a joint pension a few years before he
retired. Okay, so they both had pensions.
Yep, and then she had a pension, but she went single with a 10-year certain, which gave her more money. So that's giving her an extra $280 a month.
Okay.
Doesn't sound like a lot, but $280 a month, multiply that times 12, it's almost $3,600, right? So little things she did. When we sat down, I said, here's what you should look at. Boom, 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 boom. And we went over that list. We did that simplified checklist relative to her situation.
Okay.
And it made sense.
Okay.
It made sense because her husband living 10 years was probably slim to none.
Okay.
So that's why we did 10 years to make sure, just in case he did, he was covered for at least 10 years with that additional pension.
Okay.
In the event he had to be put in a nursing home, but now he didn't. He passed away. And she has more than enough. Every month that comes in, when what she was left, because now she's a single filer, her taxes went up. So the reason I tell you this story, a lot of people apply for Social Security too early. A lot of people are failing to, make that conservative investments, bringing them down. We brought their investments down to a more conservative level. We increased their income streams, things along that line. One, by just waiting on the Social Security, the way we took the pension as a single with 10 years certain. 10 years meaning if she would have died 2 years into it and he kept living, for 8 more years he would have got that pension. Spending the way they used to spend, well, they do because they were reasonably conservative in the first place.
Okay.
So they spend about the same. She spends a little less now because there's just one of her, but her taxes went up, so she probably will end up spending about the same. And then not taking health care expenses into an account. Let me tell you, she took health care expenses into account.
Yeah.
And they have a nice reserve account set up. Folks, if you haven't made this type of planning, or if you haven't taken time to think through, what about the uh-ohs? 336-586-5861. 336-586-5861. Do the same thing she did, her and her husband. They called, they came in, we sat down, we put this together, and it made sense for us to work together. And we're working together now that we're in our 5th year. My 5th year with her, he just passed away literally in the last couple of months. And the bottom line is they got prepared. And she said that 5 years window, right, was so important to them because they came in on a review when we found out he was having some issues.
Yeah.
And that review, that list that they got, that to-do list, that simple check-off to-do list, made them sleep well at night, probably extended his life, and it really will because you took that stress out of the situation. So once again, folks, 336-586-5861. If you don't feel like you're really prepared for retirement and you want a simple approach to retirement that takes care of the big things,
Bryan and his team here to help you simplify the process when it comes to your income strategy for retirement. Just the income plan alone, it requires so much to figure out. We were talking about how just one thing going awry can really throw somebody's plan off. And I think it's fascinating. I've been fascinated, the things that I've learned in the past few years, just about Social Security alone, Bryan. I mean, I think that if you put a quick Google on it, search will show you there's like over 500 ways to apply for Social Security. Just that one element alone can be confusing.
567 to be exact.
Come on.
Needle in the haystack much?
But as you were pointing out with this couple, how important it was for her to have a strategy for Social Security, which is just one part of that income plan process, right?
No doubt about it. That strategy has given her additional funds every month over and above what she would have received from her husband's Social Security had he passed away. She waited till 70. She ended up with an extra almost $300 a month.
Okay.
So that's $3,600 more a year. Probably going to cover the difference in their taxes, that alone, because Social Security is very tax favorable. So you get to keep more of those dollars than you do the withdrawal of your IRA.
Okay.
We also did some conversions in that window, too, to some Roth. They have now in the neighborhood of about $100,000 in Roth. So that, if you just get 5% on that, that's another $5,000 a year tax free.
Okay.
Right. And I see interest rates staying a little bit higher than they ever were. I see even when we have a drop, I don't think we're going back to the 3% mortgages anymore, or 4.
Right.
Maybe 4.5, 5. So it's all of those different things together, working together, that make up the difference.
Okay.
And so once again, folks, 336-586-5861. Quit telling yourself you're going to do this one day. Do it now. Let's simplify your retirement. Wealth Through Wisdom. That's why this radio show is called Wealth Through Wisdom. Wisdom is all about simplifying things. Why don't you do it? 336-586-5861.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Through Wisdom podcast. To learn more, visit geiserfinancial.com. Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and educational services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity of Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal services may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions related to these issues. This material is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. All opinions expressed by externally cited sources are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. The case studies presented reflects the specific circumstances of one client and should not be considered a guarantee that another client or potential client may experience the same or certain level of results. This is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment recommendations or solicitation. Names have been changed to protect the anonymity of clients and are not testimonials in nature.